a CIC Film Studio production.
Alright, welcome everyone to another episode of the Rethink University podcast. I'm Greg Manat and this is my co-host Adrian Debriam. Today we are having the opportunity to discuss topics around university with Miss Lystra Lucillio, correct?
That's correct.
So, Miss Lucillio is the DCO, Deputy Chief Executive Officer at Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. We'd like to digress a little more into what that position holds.
Okay. So, first of all, let me explain what's the Securities and Exchange Commission. It's like the central bank in a way, right? In that the central bank is the regulator of the banking sector, the insurance sector, the pension area, and we will regulate the investments area. So when you're looking at things like mutual funds, if you're investing on the stock exchange, those types of things. So that's what the Securities and Exchange Commission will do.
Okay.
So for somebody who had no idea, could I summarize as like a trade commission, more or less?
No, not really. It's more that we ensure that that people who are operating in the space actually have the abilities, the know-how, the understanding to be able to do that. So things like brokers and dealers and investment advisors and all of those things, they have to register with us. And if you see there's a government bond or if there's a mutual fund, let's say like in the UTC, those products have to be registered with us as well.
Oh.
All right. So when you see that, one of the things that we do is that we put out a whole ad about Ponzi schemes. And what's Ponzi schemes? Like pyramids and people getting you involved in scams and all of those types of things. So we would always tell persons, if you want to get into investment, you should come to our website and see if the persons that you're interacting with are registered with us.
All right. So on the Rethink University podcast, we want to tailor our discussions towards university life, or aspects of university. So, would you like to share what you've done throughout your tertiary education, correct? So, where it started and where it is now?
Well, I started with BSc, like with everyone at tertiary level, and I did it in computer studies and management studies, right? So I did the computer science management studies, and after that, I worked for a while. I think actually there's some benefit in working. You get to understand the field in action instead of just watching it in books. And at that point, then I did my master's. I actually started to do my master's in computer science, and I was not too drawn to that. So I actually waited a while, and then I started to do my MBA in finance. So I have an MBA in finance, which is in line with what we do at the Securities and Exchange Commission. And right now I'm doing my doctorate in finance.
When you started university, did you always know you wanted to work with the like exchange commission type?
No, actually I didn't. Originally, when I started university, I wanted to be an actuary. That's what I wanted to do, because in school I always did a mixture of sciences and economics or management or math. So in Form 6, I actually did economics, math, and further math. Too much math, right? And what happened is that in that area, I really wanted to become an actuary, and it just so happened that coming on to university, I made a change, and I decided I'd go into computer studies instead.
And do you think the change was like do you think you'd have been further if you didn't switch, or are you happy with the path you've taken?
Oh, I am happy, because I do believe that computer science is the future. And when I made the decision at that point in time, it's because I thought that computer science would be the future. And purely from a securities and exchange standpoint, if you look at the stock exchanges over the last 10 years internationally, you will see that the trillion-dollar companies were ones that used to be in the energy sector, oil, gas, and all of that. When you go on to the stock exchanges, the trillion-dollar companies are computer science companies, right? So hence why you will have your Facebook, you'll have Google or
Apple.
Alphabet, you know,
E-commerce.
yes,
E-commerce.
those type of companies, yes.
So, where would you have decided? Well, not decided. Where you have gotten these degrees from? Would you have went to University of the West Indies?
I went to
externally?
uni here first. Yes, I did. And then I did my master's with an Australian university, and now actually I'm doing my doctorate with a university out of Malawi.
And how was university life in UWI for you?
In UWI at that point, I think that it was exciting, and I'll tell you why. Because university is an experience that I tell everyone that it's a rite of passage. You really should experience it. It brings you to the point where I think some of the best people you're ever going to meet in your life, you're going to meet on campus. And some of the worst people you're going to ever meet in life, you're going to meet on campus as well. But it really prepares you for life, right? And getting yourself together. One of the things in uni here, what I really liked about it is that there were a lot of other extracurricular activities that you could have gotten involved in. So university is not just, you go there and you just read books. There's so much more that you could get out of that full experience there.
I think a lot of, especially people our age, I mean, like at university, the highlight is the party life we're going to experience. Is university really all like parties and stuff that you're going to just really enjoy yourself for?
Now, if you do that, you'll probably fail out of university, right? But I mean, there are some parties, there are things like that, but I mean, I wouldn't tell you all to go and get too much involved in that, participate in things. There are some great things to participate in, but don't get too caught up in it.
Considering you say that you're currently going through your doctorate, yes. I'm guessing that's virtually that you'll be doing the program.
Yeah, I'm actually doing that on virtually.
Okay. How is that actually? I would like to say, what are some misconceptions with virtual learning for tertiary? Do you think that, or do you think there are any misconceptions?
I think there are a lot of misconceptions, right? So one of the things with online for tertiary is that persons think that with any online course is one out of two things. One, you have set times that you have to go on and actually participate in classes, or it's just free, open, you can do whatever you want. No, it's very, very structured. You have deadlines, timelines, and worse yet, if you're dealing with a university that's in a different time zone, you have to adhere to their time zone. So you have that aspect of it to deal with as well. And of course, another thing, because as I told you earlier, I'm doing my doctorate with the University of Malawi. A lot of persons think that if you sign up for a university in a country that their native language might be the English, they don't teach in English, but that's not the case, right? A lot of universities in countries that do not speak English as their primary language actually teach in English.
What is the you said you're doing a doctorate now, right? How is university on campus? Were you on campus when you were at UWI?
Yes, I was.
How is university life on campus versus university life online?
Alright. So on campus, the good thing is that I actually lived on campus, and you have that kind of support system of other persons studying. You all can work together. You have your housemates who would wake you up to ensure that you get up and go and do what you need to do, get to class on time, those types of things, right? And you have that really good gelling of persons, a lot more interaction. As with life now, you see that online aspect. I only really know my other classmates through pictures. Maybe sometimes if we might have one-on-one kind of engagements, or even just by their name, but you don't get to really build, that's my personal opinion, that kind of relationship that you would if you actually, interacting with business directly.
Yeah, I think we're online university. I think the main thing is you have to really want it, because if you don't want it, you're not gonna like you might start skipping classes and stuff.
No, but that's normal. It is on campus too. You know, it's because unlike here, where you would have your parents or your teachers wondering, well, where are you? If you don't make it to class on campus, no one is looking out for you. You're just not there, right? And when you do the exam and if you fail, you fail. And I think what it is that it really shows you that you have to kind of have a more mature attitude, right? Anyhow you take it, just be more mature.
All right. Well, looking at the time, we'll have to take a break now. But next segment, we want to cover aspects about how was the admissions process, or how does it differ going to school in person versus online, or generally in Trinidad versus away. So we'll take the break now and we'll meet up afterwards.
No matter who you are, where you are, or where you're going, Deloitte is there, and there, and even there. We are dedicated to helping people and organizations solve problems, to know faster, to grow farther, to go from red to black to green, creating impact where it matters most.
Welcome back, listeners. To start off this segment, I wanted to ask, how was the admissions process for you, and like, what can you say was a tool you can use now versus when you did it to make the admissions easier?
Okay, so the admission processes would change based on if it is that you're going to, let's say, a local or regional university, compared with if it is that you're going to an international university, and then in certain countries they might require you to do certain types of tests, right? So generally, if you want to go to the university in the US, you might have to do your SATs, right? That may be asked for that. Sometimes they may look at your CSET results or your CAPE results. Now, if it is that you wanted to go to university here, it would be that this is what they would look at. So we would look at CSET, CAPE, those types of things, and UE throughout the region, right? So St. Augustine, Mona, and Barbados, right? Cape. So the thing with it, is that the admissions process, it could be a little challenging, because what happens is that according to what you want to get into, there may be some aspects of it that might be more difficult to get into. So like in St. Augustine, persons who want to do med-sci, right? It's very, very difficult to get in med-sci. But it might be a little easier to get into, let's say, SOCI, right? So and even the grades and everything associated with it. So that admissions process, it really starts with you determining what you really want to do. Okay, so sometimes persons actually apply for different parts of the university, so different faculties, right? And in the international one, which is what makes it a little different from what I have seen, is that sometimes they want you to send a package to them. So it's not only that you do the SATs, but then they will ask you, or they'll send something to you, and they'll ask you about, let's say if it's in an arts area, you have to give them like a portfolio, or show them, some other thing like that, or even ask you about leadership and different things that you did while you were in school. So you have, it could be different based on where you want to go and the faculty that you want to go into.
You said that, well, you have mentioned that you did not know you wanted to go into exchange and securities area.
Yes.
How do you come about finding that job position, or finding that degree that helped you get to that position? Because you said you have to know where you want to go to make your admission process easier.
And that's the question, and then I want to add something to that, right? So I started off with what I liked doing and what I thought was the future, which was computer science, right? And but I always liked management studies, so I didn't want to take that aspect away from it. and I wanted to do both and merge both of them. And when I did that, when I left university, I started to work in insurance groups of companies, a banking group of companies, right? Now, when you work in a group of companies, one of the things that you get is this ability to see other aspects of the whole field. What is going on here? What are some of the things that people are doing, right? And so when I started to work in the insurance company, one of the things that they made absolutely mandatory for all of the staff to do is that we had to do our first 2 levels in an insurance certification called FLMI, right? So when I started to get more into the insurance, more into the finance aspect, right? Even in building systems or computer solutions, right? I had to understand what it is business wanted to do. So having that exposure, I realized I really enjoy this. I enjoy it. So I started to look around to see, well, if this I wanted to do my master's in which what would it look like, right? And I started to look for jobs and opportunities that would kind of position me in areas where I have more exposure. So with the Securities and Exchange Commission, actually I entered there as the Director of Information Management. So I was the head of IT. Now, being the head of IT is that you have a hand in everything that is running the organization. And in doing that, I was able to expose myself to more. I started to do things in terms of reading legislation. So that's like reading laws until I had to start to speak like a lawyer, right? Say certain things that okay, so what do you mean by this? And to me, that it just added and helped me to grow in the field. So hence why in the SEC, I actually was able to move from IT, because I started off at IT in the SEC, and then I got more into the functional area.
It sounds very difficult. I don't know. As a history student, I don't even think I can do. I was looking at legislation and stuff before.
Yes.
I hate reading through them. It's terrible. It's so time consuming, and my brain gets built up after 5 minutes.
No, and that's why I have AI now. But
That's true.
Talking to your person.
Speaking on that, then, what do you think about how do you think AI should be more implemented into schools or
on general, thinking
schools? All right. My view is, my personal view, that one, AI is there supposed to be able to help you, right? It's not to replace you. So if it is that you're going to have AI in school, you shouldn't be using it to do your assignments, right?
That's actually for me.
You shouldn't be using it to do your assignments, right? You really should give yourself an opportunity to do the assignment, and what you could do is compare what the AI said against it. So it makes you say, well, I didn't realize that it was all of these other things that could have been involved, and it helps you to become more analytical, right? But I do believe that AI tools they're evolving so quickly, and it might actually change the whole landscape in terms of everything, including education, all right, and what would happen in terms of persons' careers and going forward and all of that. But so even you asked me about the admission process, and do you know that there are AI tools right now that make it a whole host easier? You all are a very fortunate generation, right, to get all the information in one go, and you have an AI tutor helping you through every aspect. So if you go onto a site called College AI, college.ai, you will see all of these things that comes up there, right? Where it will actually take you through the whole process, how you determine what you want to do into getting into the admissions process.
He's actually checking college AI right now.
Yes, that's good.
Oh, you don't have internet? Sorry.
No, I don't have internet.
Yeah.
Actually, I knew pretty well about using AI to get into university to have the admissions letter and stuff. Basically, I think when AI just came out, I don't know if Greg would agree, or if Greg could agree. Teachers, please don't punish us. I think obviously start it was AI. Can you write this essay for me? Here's the the queue. And I think now
Y'all admit it?
I openly told my teachers before that. I don't know if Greg could agree, but I think now it's more like, hey, can you help me with points?
This is what you actually did, because then the teachers will know what they will have to do in order to work with you all.
To be fair, I'm very open with teachers, because regards to some topics where it requires some level of depth, that's for essentially for a new learner, it wouldn't be fully apparent. So let's say for the structure for an assignment or structure for one of my IEs, I'll create one, change it to adjust to what I would have gotten wrong, and show it to my teacher and say, this is what I would have gotten from XYZ, from ChatGPT or whatever.
Yes.
And it actually, it's one of the more essential tools, I would say, in my arsenal for school, because it gives another, it saves me a lot of time research, first of all, and it gives another perspective where, although it's not human, it's strictly research and strictly an analytical. So it's different for a different subject, but I use it a lot.
You said something that's right. The human aspect is missing. So there's certain things that you would pick up out of your experience that the AI doesn't pick up.
Yeah.
All right. So you have to weigh those things as well, and it's very good for you to actually have the conversations with your teachers. As in, I went and be honest. I generated this from AI, and what are your thoughts?
You just from college, yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna route to some more ads. We'll see you in a minute.
Are you in secondary school and not interested in doing Form 6? Did you know that at COSTAT, you can build your future skills and do your associates after Form 5? You can even begin the application process before you get your CSEC results. And not just one or two programs. Choose from over 80 available programs such as Information Technology, Psychology, General Nursing, Graphic Design, and many more. Visit our website to see the available programs for this semester. Want an alternative to Form 6? Maximize your time. Jump right into your new college life at COSTAT.
So welcome to the last segment of this episode of the Rethink University podcast. And I would like to start off to know if you have any questions for us.
Okay. So y'all are going through this whole aspect of getting into university and the admissions process. How do you all do your research to determine that what area you really want to get into?
You want to start that before I answer? Unless you want me to.
I think the main thing is to figure out what you want to do, because at this point in time, there's like I think compared to like before, especially like in the past 2 years, because when I was in Form 1 and Form 2, it was said you can become a doctor, a lawyer, those things. Yes. But like as you get to Form 4 and 5, and you already pick subjects, it's just like there's things in IT, there's IR, and you never hear about those things before. So I think the main thing is tackling is figure out what you actually want to do and what you are passionate about. Because right now, I think it's more important to find something that I like. So for me personally, I'm going to go to data analytics, and I originally picked my subjects to go into IR, which I originally picked my Form 4 subjects to be a lawyer. So I've gone through 3 different changes at this point. And I think you just figure out what you like, and I think it's about what you're good at and what you like as well. Because I'm good at math, but I like business. So data analytics was like a good middle ground for me. And for admission specifically, I think the research I've done was mainly talking to people who's done it before me. And that's the best thing with like Instagram and social media. It's easy to reach out to people saying, hi, I see you do data analytics, and I want to do the career as well. Do you have any advice? What university do you go to? Is there any universities that you would have wanted to go to? And
like for me, I'm looking at courses like engineering, like what it would take to go into engineering, because engineering and like computer science, but software development, those are all areas in which there are job markets available. You can go into that degree, get that degree, but you can still be employable in another industry, or that degree can make you employable in other industries because of the necessary for other industries. So it's just to find out what I'm truly good at, and I'm kind of arranging subjects to see where I kind of grow most in, not necessarily just in grades, but in the enjoyment factor, because I don't want to be stuck doing a job or doing a degree that I just have to do it just so I can qualify. I'll do a degree to say that I'm proud to do a degree, because that's an accomplishment.
Okay, so seeing that you all are looking at universities, would you want to go to university, let's say, on the other side of the world, in Australia, in Asia, or would you be okay going online and doing an online course?
I'll take this one. So I think actually, given the experience I've gotten to travel to the other side of the world, whether it be in transit or actually to travel to experience it, the culture there is so much different comparatively to Western dynamics. So, well, actually, I wouldn't say it's slightly different, but it's different regards to how people interact with you, and the differences and similarities to how it is in the Caribbean. Given I've gotten the opportunity to go to Australia, and the climate there, especially generally northern part of Australia, it's very similar to Trinidad. And all things considered, I wouldn't mind living there. It's just the distance between Trinidad and Australia, in case something happens, or if I miss my family or something. That's the one thing I have to consider. But
Or you miss home cooked food?
yeah.
Greg will miss his mom.
Yeah. I would. But the social dynamics, like I don't know how to explain it. Like, other than the food, obviously, like the cultural part of it, it's just that in a sense that I would like to experience it, but I wouldn't want to trade it off for what I have at home, or at least closer to home. So
you prefer to stay closer to home?
And then again, because of how cultural aspects and social dynamics play such a big part in my daily life, I think unless there's a really good trade-off, I don't think I'll choose online tertiary education.
Why?
Purely because I think a big part of me wanting to go to university is to meet people as well, network. Because if you want to go to a university, especially a good university, you get to meet people who would have been accepted because they do well, and the chances of them going to higher places, and you get to surround yourself with people who are success oriented. And if you are around those people long enough or close enough, you tend to have similarities and you get a better chance of developing yourself. And although, like, let's say for example, my mom, she would have had done a degree for Harvard online. She would have met persons online, but that's very different to how the friends that she had made explain how online campus in person is. So she has that sense of missing out, that fear of missing out, but it's a trade-off for her because she gets to work and have her own life at home while doing a course at a good university. So unless it's something like that where I need to do it online to do it, I wouldn't choose that over in person, if that makes sense. So what do you think?
Like what you were saying earlier, I think it was in the first segment, where you mentioned like when you talk about you doing a doctorate online,
Yes.
so like you see a face and you see a name, sometimes you don't even see a face, sometimes when you see a profile picture, a still image. There's a lack of unity about in our class. So like, for example, for me, I met my best friend in primary school and he went to CIC as well. Then my second closest friend, I met him at CIC. We sat down together for 3 years and we built a connection. And to this day, those two, I'm a single child, an only child, but those are my brothers. And I think as a whole, in my house, Laval, we look at each other as a brother in Form 6. Everyone helps each other out. I think CIC innovates a lot of business people in business. Like, and currently there's about like 4 different businesses in upper 6, like people trying to start things ourselves. And there's always collaboration. And I think like this podcast, for example, it was so easy to go and talk to the pastor and junior for help if anything needed. When you go to online, you don't really have that connection to a school. You won't feel. when I speak with my alumni, I want to talk back to my kids and be like, yes, I went to this university. And in this university, I felt like a family. I don't want to talk back and say, yeah, I did a degree online. It was easy. It might be easier, it might be less time consuming, it might be cheaper, but I think the trade-off is cost for a life experience. You can only experience. Not everybody gets to experience that, and I think if you have the opportunity to go away, or even if you have to do a new way, I would always say the opportunity time and time again.
So on campus,
I
would love probably in this hemisphere.
I think that has a part to play because we've had to endure online schooling, and it generally had because of the abruptness of it and the mismanagement, it would have left a bad taste in some people's mouths. So
I might definitely miss my mother, but I need some time away. I need to be in campus by myself, and being an adult is part of growing up, I think. And I lead into last year's Rethink University. That was a lot of the things that we talked about was that university life by yourself. It changes you as a person, and you learn more about yourself, who you are when no one is around to help you.
Exactly. Like wash your own clothes. So you have all of those things that happen.
Wash your clothes.
I wash my clothes.
So I have a question though. So you're looking at university, you want to go particular places. What about funding? How are you going to handle funding aspect of it?
It's big business, man.
I chose French for a reason. I chose French solely based off of our business accusation. So I would be able to go to France and study for free. I think also we were talking about how university in Europe is more affordable.
Yes.
And if that doesn't go to plan, I always have UE to go to. And UE it's not a fallback plan, it's just if I decide that I don't want to live outside the Caribbean, which I don't think I will. I would love to go away. If I want to stay in the Caribbean, I could go to UE. I don't think funding is as much a problem now. There's a lot of scholarships as well. You can get a scholarship for almost anything. Like I think I had spoken to a few Canadian universities, and they all once you have decent grades, they can take a lot of the cost away.
But there's still a lot more costs as well. There's tuition. Tuition is one thing.
Cost of living.
But there's the whole, if you want to live on campus and all of that cost, that could almost equate your tuition itself.
So for me at least, financing, like regards tuition solely, I am trying my best to go towards a merit-based scholarship in which that would take off a large chunk, a portion, let's say a portion or entirely, my college tuition. Also, within each institution, there tends to be specific scholarships or honors that you can get, and in some universities, you get Trinidad is eligible for a Latin American scholarship, like I say, University of South Florida. You get like the tuition rate there is extremely low, given honors and merit. So all these factors are to play, and it's more dependent on how I perform. But financial wise, I'm lucky enough to say that I have a fallback plan, and that'll be either UE or I'll do part-time. I'll work part-time for college versus work as a student, because a lot of universities in the States with a student visa, you're not allowed to work, but within the campuses they offer jobs, and that allows you to reduce the total cost of the tuition.
Actually, to rephrase one question to ask earlier,
what
advice would you have to your children? Like, what advice would you give them on choosing universities?
The first thing that I would say to them is that I would like them to do what they love, right? So they have to find their passion, and the only way that you can find your passion is if you expose yourself to multiple things, right? So just as you said, when you were growing up, it was like a doctor, a lawyer, the known, usual suspects, right? I think sometimes that, especially the way how the world is just growing so much, that so many different things are happening, that you could actually cut yourself short by not allowing yourself to go and experience other things. Like one of the things that you raised earlier about marine biology, right? have you actually interacted with like dolphins or with whales or turtles? Did you go turtle watching? Did you see what's going on there?
Of
you know,
course.
this is the type of thing. This is how you build your passion. You have to come out there, expose yourself to what is going on in the world. So even that I might be good at something, I don't know if it is that it's something that I would actually like as well. But you're right in terms of you can't just go and get a degree for getting a degree's sake. It has to be something that you could use to actually build a career in the future.
Timing, so.
So we have 1 minute left. I think in this moment I'd like to ask you, what's the advice you have for someone like me, or any general advice you have for me and Greg, and all that you learned about us through this podcast? What advice do you have for us?
Alright.
Putting this on the spot, boy.
That's the
Pressure builds diamonds.
Pressure
Builds diamonds.
diamond. Right. So what it is that I think that everybody kind of pushes you that you need to make a determination now, and you need to force you into making a choice, right? But sometimes a choice, and I mean this could be a little bit controversial, is that sometimes people take a gap year, right? If it is that it's a lot going on, you don't know what direction you want to go in, the worst thing you could do is put yourself in a situation where you start doing things and you absolutely hate it. You're wasting your time, your money, or your parents' money, or anything else, right? And you're not being fair to yourself. So I would say that. And of course, I do believe in prayer. That whenever you're going to make a big decision, that you should pray about it first and ask for guidance and direction.
I'd like to say it was lovely talking to you.
Yep.
As Greg said, I was really excited to come on this episode, and I must say, my excitement was well lived up to. I really enjoyed speaking to you.
Okay, I could agree. That's I said this one of the episodes as well. Had a little more depth to it, less interview style. I really appreciate the energy I brought to the episode today. So this was Miss Lystra Lucillio. And that's the end of this episode of the Rethink University podcast.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Rethink University podcast. We want to thank our co-sponsors Deloitte and Costa. Join us again for our future episodes. Please subscribe and share to spread the word, and remember, reframe your mind, redefine your path, and repurpose your skills.